the grades will be substantially better than they are for a typical Nevada type pit mine. Wide open in the system, and we will have blocked out a multi-million ounce resource right off the bat.
Hello, welcome to Assay TV. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Rauno Perttu, who is the co-founder, chairman, and CEO of Provenance Gold Corp. Rauno, great to see you today, joining from Oregon, where one of your projects is located. Provenance Gold, you've got 4 gold and silver projects located across North America. Can you just start things off by giving us a little background to the company and your main focus?
Yes, the company is focused primarily on silver and gold, primarily gold at this point. We've been in this attempt, which has been very successful, to find great projects and advance them for about 6 years. In that time, we have looked at many projects, focused on the ones we have. The projects that we have right now include 2 exceptional projects that I think are going to become very substantial down the road.
And I believe the company came together by you and some of your colleagues. So you have a lot of experience in the field, and as you mentioned, you looked at a load of projects before you honed in on these ones. What was that process like?
In that process, I contacted several old. I'm going to back up. I'm a very experienced old geologist, and I've been in the business for 50 years at senior levels for a big chunk of that time. And I approached them, and they flagged a bunch of projects to me. One geologist in particular, who I've known for 30 years, Steve Craig, who was the manager for Nevada for Kennecott Corporation for 25 years, told me that he would make me a short list. We went around and looked at a bunch of Nevada projects on that short list. I nixed most of them for various practical reasons. I'm going to diverse here. The reason that I nixed most of them was not because they weren't great exploration projects, but I wanted a solid exploration projects that were going to be easy to explore and had a very good chance of becoming a major discovery. To that end, we focused on the projects we have right now. 2 of them have come in the last few years while we've been working together.
Well, let's focus on some of your projects here. First of all, White Rock. That's located, I believe, in Nevada. Tell us a little bit about that project. There's been quite a bit of historic drilling on that project. What has been found so far, and what are your plans?
Okay, White Rock is in the very northeastern corner of Nevada. You actually cross the Utah line to get onto the project, and Idaho is just a stone's throw to the north. It's a project that came to us from Nevada Select Royalty Corporation, which is part of Gold Royalty Corporation these days. And Jerry Boffman, who is the U.S. manager and a longtime friend, he flagged this as exceptional. Steve, it turned out, had drilled this project in the past many years earlier, but it was in the middle of other discoveries and a different economic time. So when we went out and looked at it on the ground, we both became very excited on what we were seeing. It's an area that is 3.2 kilometers by 1.6 kilometers of continuous surface mineralization on a mountaintop. And when I say mountaintop, it's not a mountain like you might picture elsewhere, it's hills. But anyway, when we looked at this project, it had been drilled 65 holes by several companies, including Kennecott. They had great results, but they had never been put together, and they were scattered. The holes were hundreds of meters apart from each other. Well, we redid the geology and found that the geology is a very coherent package. And we decided what we can do is start blocking out a major resource there. So we took the 65 holes, relocated them, which was a chore, and then drilled 35 holes this summer additionally in that project. In that project, we have started substantiating a significant resource that is going to continue growing. And in that package, we have up to 100 meters plus of open pit grade Nevada-style gold mineralization.
Fantastic. And what sort of grades are we talking about from these holes? These
about 0.5 gram, which is typical for Nevada these days.
And what are your plans?
0.015 ounce per ton for those who use the standards that I use.
Absolutely. And what are your plans for 2022 then? More drilling ahead?
Yes, but the reason that I'm saying yes with a pause is because of what we have acquired recently, and where do you put your money? For a small company like us, we need to put the money where it's going to do the most company for us and our shareholders.
That's Eldorado, yeah?
That is Eldorado. We did such a good job of starting to explore white rock that Jerry Boffman, again of Nevada Select Royalty Corporation, called us up and said, I have a project that you guys really need to take a look at. It was being reviewed by a major, and he pulled it from the major, and because he liked our work and knew us. And we took a look at it and said, yes, we'll take it. What it is it's in Eastern Oregon, near Idaho, and it's in a part of Oregon that is actually mining friendly. If you tried to develop a project in Western Oregon, it would be a challenge. In Eastern Oregon, it's a different world, and the locals there like mining, and that area is starting to become active again because a company has recently been successful in moving a permit for a mine development not that far from us forward.
Right.
That project had been drilled in back in it was discovered in 1980, and it was drilled by Billiton and then by Icon way back in the 1980s and 90s. And what they found was that it's a major gold deposit around a diorite intrusive. The drilling that was done by Billiton outlined a resource that they had a conservative consulting company out of Denver calculated just under 800,000 completely open-ended ounces. The average grade for that was 0.22, or about 3/4 of a gram. Then Icon took it on and continued drilling. They drilled another 50 holes, and they found out that the resource kept expanding. We actually talked to the guy who was in charge of that program recently on the phone, and what he told us was eye-opener. He said that that whole system was open-ended vertically, horizontally, and they had only drilled about 1/3 of that intrusive perimeter. And at that point, Icon, to make a long story short, outlined a resource within that block that they had actually drilled of about 4 million ounces at 0.22, or 3/4 of a gram. Within that are pockets that go up to several grams, and some of the holes have up to 700 feet, call it plus 100 meters, 200 meters of multi-gram. So it's a phenomenal project. It starts at grassroots. I'm actually familiar with that area from past work, and it's an area that I think is going to be exceptional for discovery of a significant deposit.
With results looking like that, I mean, you've got to ask the question, why did the previous owners let it go?
Well, Billiton went out of the minerals business when Royal Dutch Shell pulled the plug on them, and Icon was absorbed. And at the same time, it was a time with very low gold prices, under $300. And at the same time, they were merged with 2 other companies. So it basically, they went out of the business.
It's all about timing, isn't it? And sort of that
really is.
Your bad luck. Your good luck. I mean.
Yeah, people actually, including me, I thought I knew all the Oregon projects, and I didn't know about this. It fell off the radar of everybody. Jerry Boffman, who is the head of Nevada Select Royalty, a good geologist and a longtime acquaintance, brought it to us because he found it and he started doing the background work. There were land problems that he straightened out, and it took 2 or 3 years for him to put the package together. We got it, and we are delighted.
Absolutely. So, going forward in 2022, again on that project, more drilling planned, yeah.
Very much so. And the reason I was saying the earlier hesitation is that when you look at White Rock, before this came along, we were planning on starting as early as we could on White Rock to continue that drilling. But I discovered something that I wasn't completely aware of, and that's that in order to get the attention of the market for small juniors, you really need to have a substantial deposit that's actually been blocked out. And that number of, call it a plus $1 million ounce type deposit, which I think is very easily done there, is going to take at least another drill season, maybe 2 drill seasons. In that time, we're going to spend a lot of time and money. If I take that same time frame and the money that we have right now, I can drill, call it 20 confirmation holes at Eldorado. The grades will be substantially better than they are for a typical Nevada type open pit mine, wide open in the system, and we will have blocked out a multi-million ounce resource right off the bat. Absolutely. So it's the way to go.
Well, how long do you think it will take you to be able to get out a maiden resource on that project?
We are actually, we have found all of the historic data. So what we're going to be working from, and this is unusual, we're going to be working from a database that produced those multi-million ounce resource estimates historically. We're going to rerun those programs and then go in and validate that number. We'll have that resource done in the next 3 weeks. Then we're going to go in and confirm the key holes on that property to put them all into 43-101 compliance.
Excellent. And in terms of sort of financing all of this, you've recently done a fundraising, yeah? Can you give us some details on that?
We raised, we wanted to have enough money to carry us through until we drill the confirmation holes at Eldorado. Because at our current share price, we don't want to dilute anymore by having major raises. We raised $800,000 very recently to add to about 1.6 million that we raised earlier that covered the earlier programs. With that money, we will be able to drill the confirmation holes until we have actually been able to turn out the 43-101, the confirmation holes, and be ready to do a financing at a substantially higher, we hope, level.
Fantastic. And so a lot of drilling ahead for you, but a very exciting time for the company. But thank you very much for joining us today for this intro to the company. And we really look forward to hearing from you later on in the year when you've had a chance to go and do these confirmation holes and possibly put out a resource. So thank you very much for joining us today, Rauno Perttu.
Okay, thank you. And we will have the resource estimate on a more arm wave basis at White Rock this winter, and we will have the more definite resource estimate coming out on Eldorado also this winter, and be drilling by probably April.
Fantastic. Well, pleasure speaking with you today.
Thank you. Yes, enjoyed being here.